All right, so with our handsome Mr. Teddy, who's growing like a weed, I wanted to warm up a little bit with some find its and then work a bit with some loose leash walking, sort of again, engagement with the handler from the environment. But then I also wanted to work a little bit with some play with him. I know for Miss Phoenix, I had explained sort of trying a flirt pole. And since it might be new to her and the new environment, and of course, a new toy in general, I wanted to sort of show a little bit with Mr. T, since he does enjoy the flirt pole quite a bit. He is getting to be so big though, so we'll have to make sure we're still going nice and easy for him since he's a little bit clumsy. He's a little bit like a baby moose, as I just said that he like tripped while grabbing a snack. You're a goober. So for warm-ups, again, you'll see that these find its are just a good way to kind of get the groove going. And then from there, you could again go, Teddy, come. Yes, and then you could get this beautiful orientation back to you from the environment. Again, we're going to send him away. They're all doing gorgeous, by the way, for, again, first day all together again for day school. Yes. So some of these find its can also be really great for reorienting back to you while working with like loose leash walking, for example. So let's say you are practicing in your yard or your home and you toss a little snack away. The moment your puppy then comes back and reorients back to your side, I would feed them for that moment of coming back into your space. He's going to christen my new jeans with his extra slimy face, which is perfectly acceptable. But I just got these yesterday because obviously my pants get a lot of wear and tear at training. So right here, he might do, again, little name recognition. Teddy, come, with a gorgeous little recall. Yes. It's so cute how butt high he is right now because he's growing at like different rates in his body. So remember that for him especially, since he's a giant breed, is he's not going to be done growing till he's about 2.5. So if you are able to hold off with altering him until he's done fully growing, it does make a big difference for joint and bone health down the road, as well as for many other facets too for him developmentally. So I'm not saying to not alter. Obviously, we don't want to add to more population problems, or if it's something that you really wanted to get done down the road, perfectly good. I do, as of right now, have an intact male, and I've never had a dog in the past that's been left intact. I'm not going to breed him, so we're not looking to make more babies. Teddy, come. But I've just been reading a lot about some of the research, and that for a lot of the dogs, at least being able to fully mature before getting altered does make a big difference for them mentally as well as physically for their physique and their overall health. Yes, good job. So when working through some of this loose leash walking, I would go ahead and also capture all these great moments where he's then by my leg. So I do like to keep the food on the side in which I'm going to be keeping him on. He says chewing and walking is a whole nother can of worms. Nice. Excuse me, my seltzer. Yes. So also too, guys, if your puppies tend to be really mouthy, so when you're feeding them, if they're biting at your fingers and they're kind of being a little gruff with how they're taking food, Teddy, come. Remember, that could be a window into their comfort range or their arousal, so they're getting too jazzed, a little bit overwhelmed. So if their mouth is a bit rowdier than usual, I would kind of gauge, well, what are we dealing with? What's going on in the environment? And it could be that your puppy's getting overtired or overstimulated and might need a softer or a little break moment. Yes, gorgeous. So again, we're going to go ahead and continue. So as he gets more comfortable, the slime is I would recommend to keep your hand kind of out of range and get him to sort of hone in by your leg. And then eventually you would fade this out and you wouldn't be using your hand sort of by your hip or your tummy. You would eventually just be walking and intermittently feeding this handsome guy for being by your side. And then that's how you could build up this loose leash walking. So you could work him on both the left, which is where we were, and now you could also work him on the right. He's like, lady, I'm so ready. So you'll see that I do tend to regain his attention sometimes with the food hand. Eventually that's going to be faded out, but right now I want him to find it kind of appealing to hone in on the side where the food is so I can keep him on that side. Yes. He's like, hold on, can't walk and chew. So we might go again, and this could be with me, let's go, heal, whatever slogan. Yes. And I might send him away again to get a little morsel, if he can find it. Sometimes he doesn't always pay attention as to where they go, and he has to go search them out with his little sniffer. Teddy, come. Here he comes, slowly but surely. What a good job. So right here, yes, good check-in, smart boy. So obviously with loose leash walking, I know we've dived into potentially getting him comfortable with like a head collar, also making sure that we're working him within a comfortable environment where he can be set up for success. If every time we go for example, a walk, which we've already dived into a little bit, is if it's always the real world setup with all of the super hard distractions, you may always be setting yourselves up for some frustration because it's always just too hard for him to learn while also needing to perform. So I would highly recommend make sure that he is practicing in and around the home, the yard, the front yard, maybe a few houses in your neighborhood. And then if you end up going for a bigger walk, the problem with that is you're so far from home that you may get a really overtired puppy and he might get more pulley or more mouthy. So just make sure that where and how long you're practicing is creating the dynamic that you'd like him to keep getting good at. Otherwise, I would take a pause and then start a little bit of a softer setup so he's going in the direction you were hoping into adulthood. He says, hold up, he's got to go take a little drink. Thirsty boy. And he normally loves to lay in that puddle in the corner. So hopefully he just goes for the drink and we can go right into some play. While he's drinking, I might as well have a drink as well. We can both stay hydrated. Ready, Teddy? He's like, yes, please. So let's say we're gonna try and do some play. I might go, you ready? And then it's gonna come alive. Go get it. So I wanna do big swooshing motions because I don't want him to crash, for example, into the wall. Or for example, if I make the corners too sharp, he's like, take that. If I make the corners too sharp, you're getting there. He's like, I'm gonna let go and it's gonna be really, really nice. So good catch. So if he's playing, we wanna be careful just because he is such a big moose that he doesn't hurt himself by making sharp corners and then slip or fall or hurt himself, or where he might, for example, follow the flirt pole up. So I know I had mentioned a little bit for Miss P. Good job, sir. So I'm gonna feed him for just hanging out with the flirt pole toy here and not going and continuously grabbing for it and getting really excitable. So we want to sort of practice this sort of on-off switch. If, let's say, this was too exciting, we might create some distance with those find its again in the beginning, and that can be really helpful if he doesn't quite have the ability at the time to practice the other way. Ready? Find it. Nice. So, but if he were to follow the toy, we don't want to make it go up high in the sky because we also don't want him to, for example, go jumping up high and then land funny. He says, whoa, speed wobble. So you'll see that I'm really not going super fast for him, but I want to just make sure he's going to be taking his time too while he's practicing. What a good job. So when we might get a little sitting if we can, he's like, maybe. Oh, such a smart boy. So you don't have to be constantly asking for sits. I feel like sometimes they're a little overused. That's embarrassing. You lost your snack and you had no idea. So, but if, let's say, for example, if your puppy doesn't jump because they're sitting, or if your puppy doesn't jump if they're doing a find it, those could be better options than constantly screaming, no, off, down, stop it. Because a lot of times, remember, they don't speak English, I would say all the time. And for their perspective, you squealing might be you barking with excitement. And then maybe they too think you're gonna play with them. We didn't see that last find it. You ready? Teddy's like, I love this game. Oh, that was so smart. So I'm gonna feed him for that. He's like, there's the snack you lost. So I might go, you ready? Go get it. So I like to have the are you ready be we're about to play, and then go get it to like go retrieve or go tug or go play with that thing. And then there's gonna be, for example, you could be drop it, give, out, release, whatever slogan you like for letting go of something. It won't be leave it, because leave it are gonna be always off limits items. So leave it's for safety would be things that are dangerous, toxic. We're not going to go explore or check it out with our mouth or maybe taste it or play with it. So it's always off limits. You caught it. What a good boy. Ready? Go get it. And we're not going to play too long because I don't want to get him too tired. Because I got it. Good boy. But this is what the flirt pole looks like. So for Miss Phoenix, who didn't quite want to rock it yet, stage fright is a real thing. She's like, I don't know who this lady is and what the heck she wants from me in this weird house. So don't feel badly if she did not perform the same way the boys are. So I know for Miss Phoenix, it's her very first day, and that means at times it can be a little bit novel, which can make it a little bit more challenging for starters. So we're just doing a couple little find its, get them out and about. He's doing a good job. Ready? Teddy, wanna go get it? He's like, there's only so much oomph he has. You get that bad boy? He's like, this is as fast as I'm gonna go. Good catch. So for play, if for example, he really likes toys, you could also use toys in your walk or give little paws, and maybe there's an open space along your walkway and there's a place where you could do a little bit of playing and then go back into your loose leash walking practice. So you can give him almost like little recesses between being such a smart, handsome man and checking in with like loose leash walking and other skills to then a little bit of puppy play time, which is again going to really help him get some energy out in a constructive manner versus taking this energy and like applying it to your neighbor that's right across the street. And now he wants to visit them, but he maybe can't. Are you going to go back to your corner? He was thinking about it. He says, I really like my swampy, wet puddle that the babes tend to make. Get it. Oh, he's so smart. So if he starts tugging, we don't want to sort of tug. So I like to lower it. I don't know if you can see me right now, but I'm a little out of camera shot. So if, for example, he's like, no, I shall tug forever. So what I like to do is if they start tugging, I know you couldn't see me, is I step on it. So if he starts tugging, when he lets go, he's not going to like slap me. If I were holding the stick straight out and he's tugging, if he lets go, it's going to slap me. This one has a bungee, so it kind of gives a nice big slap if you weren't ready for it or expecting it. So if it does turn into a tuggy toy, which I don't recommend, go right into working some find its to get him to redirect away from the toy and then simmer down again, because we want to work a little bit with this excitement or arousal and coming back from woohoo back to like simmer or take a pause or take a break. Because if he can't manage to go from woohoo to calm or more soft, then he's never really going to work it when he gets excited on his own. So this is where preactively or on purpose, for example, you're trying to rev the engine, put the brakes on, and practice that scenario. Ready? Find it. Nice. What a good boy. We'll do another little find it, and maybe we'll go ahead, we'll give him a little break from this lovely tug, or sorry, not tug, well, from the flirt pole. My brain also is slightly melting like the dog's. Good job. You got to chew them. He says, oh, that was